thank you for having us in your home on this Thursday afternoon. You know, the big story of the day, you can't even argue. It's the hot temperatures, the very windy conditions, and the extremely dry conditions as well. And as such, you've often heard me say, please be fire weather aware. Please don't be the human element that triggers a wildfire. And here's just some of the human causes of wildfires locally. Remember, we are in an exceptional drought condition. That's one of the highest drought categories you can achieve, D4, and that's across the majority of Mesa County, Delta County, Montrose County as well. Trailer chains, big issue, especially with the interstate rolling through here and the highways. So please, if you're recreating, you're towing a trailer, just tighten up the chains. That's all it takes. Cigarette butts, don't toss them out the window, please. Now, these are human-caused fire starts. And there are natural fire starts, like lightning strikes, for example, and that will occur possibly late next week. That'll be another issue that we'll be dealing with. But between now and then, well, today we have the strong winds, but between next week, we also have very hot temperatures to talk about. More on that in just a moment. Southwest flow as indicated by the wind lines here. But as far as smoke goes, I only saw a little bit of smoke early this morning backed up against the Grand Mesa. Most of it's off towards our north, but that wildfire in western Rio Blanco County, even though it is contained at 50%, it is not showing up on the map. But still, the problem with this area, strong winds. High wind warning exists until 9 p.m. for Rio Blanco County and Moffat County as well. So the northwest corner of Colorado, very windy, very gusty. We're talking 50 to 80 mile per hour wind gusts. Now, locally, a little closer to home in the Tri-County area, Grand Valley, through the DeBet Canyon into Eagle County, but also Delta County, Montrose County, we have that high wind advisory. That goes until 9 p.m. tonight. That is the expectation of 40+ mile per hour wind gusts. We've achieved that today. But on top of all that, we have the very dry conditions, and we've met the criteria for red flag warnings, which is 25 mile per hour wind speeds sustained at a couple of minute measurement. And then you have the very dry conditions, and again, wildfires quickly igniting and spreading out of control. So please be very mindful of what you do. Be fire weather aware. You're going to hear me saying that all throughout the summer, and you'll also hear me referencing heat exhaustion, because next week we're going to turn up the temperatures. Speaking of turning it up, 80 mile per hour wind gusts at Douglas Pass. But I wanted to mention Dragon Road, that's one of our fires, near 50 mile per hour gust earlier this afternoon. Last summer's fire, but this summer's burn scar, near 40 mile per hour gusts. So the wind is out there, and it's going to continue to do so through at least sunset tonight. And dependent on your location, that's about 8:40 this evening. Top wind gusts locally right around the 40 mile per hour zone. So that wind advisory, well merited. Now, as far as wind speeds go, current, we're about 25 miles per hour. And we've sustained this measurement for quite some time today. There's the criteria for the red flag warning. In addition to the very dry conditions, both Montrose and Grand Junction both have rain deficits exceeding 1.25 inches to 1.75 inches. And you cannot make that up in just one rain shower. And with that, we don't even have rain in the forecast. Current temperatures now, these are warmer than we should be for this early portion of June, and it's all because of this ridge of high pressure. Now, we will clear the sky out later this evening, dust notwithstanding. We will be clearing out the sky throughout the course of Friday as well. But with the passage of that dry front that created the wind yesterday, the dusty conditions and the gusty conditions today, we lower our temperatures a scotch. Instead of upper 90s, it's lower 90s. But it is some relief when you compare what we're to expect. Now, that ridge of high pressure anchors itself over the region for the weekend and into next week. So the very dry conditions, well, we have very hot conditions as well. You might even call it a heat wave. We're going to have consecutive days at or above 100 degrees. And for Grand Junction, while Mesa County has been to 100, Grand Junction has not. And late this weekend, there's our opportunity to do so. So please make sure you hydrate. Try to avoid the heat of the day, whether it's strenuous activity or recreational activity. Avoid watering during the middle of the day as well. Try doing it early in the morning. And loose-fitting clothing. That's about all I can say on that, but I'll continue to mention that into next week. For Montrose, near 90 degrees, that's relief tomorrow. Mid and upper 90s, those are near temperature records, and it's going to continue through next week. Late next week, we turn the wind machine back up, and that's an indication of yet another frontal system passing through. So far, it looks dry. No big changes are anticipated, but it's a wind maker, and it's a heat generator.